In the ancient town of Olowogbowo, surrounded by rolling hills and green fields, life thrived under King Adebayor. The people loved their king, known for his wise and fair rule. But one season, a strange illness hit the kingdom, affecting King Adebayor and the chiefs and other title holders. It was as if the calamity targeted the rulers of the kingdom, from the highest to the least. The palace, once full of joy, now echoed with sadness. Days turned into weeks, and despite the best efforts of the town's healers, herbs, prayers, and rituals, nothing seemed to work. Whispers of doom spread through Olowogbowo, and the town began to lose hope. One morning, as the sun peeked through the clouds, a commotion arose at the palace gates. A young girl, blind and frail, had made her way to the town from a faraway, unknown place. Her name was Tiwa, and everyone was curious about her. She insisted on seeing the king. "Take me to him," Tiwa said confidently. The guards looked at each other, unsure. But when King Adebayor heard about her, he ordered her to be brought to him. When Tiwa entered the throne room, the king, who has been weakened by the illness, was surprised by her presence. Even though she could not see, she stood very confident and spoke with the wisdom of an old woman. "Great King Adebayor," Tiwa began, "I come from a distant kingdom. I have traveled far to deliver a message that may save your land." King Adebayor leaned forward. "What calamity do you speak of, young one?" "The sickness that affects you and your chiefs is not ordinary," Tiwa replied. "It is the result of a decision made long ago, one that hurt an innocent woman. Only by changing that decision can the shadow over your land be lifted." Confusion spread among the nobles who were present. Their forefathers had made many choices, but which one could have caused this curse? Tiwa continued, "I do not know all the details, but I carry a puzzle that must be solved." The king frowned. "What is this puzzle?" "Listen closely," she said. "To find healing you must trace the past. Seek the tree that stands alone in the clearing, where forgotten stories mix with the winds of fate. There, beneath its twisted branches, you will find the first clue." The chiefs exchanged puzzled glances. "What tree?" asked Olowogbowo, the king's closest advisor. "Beyond the hills, where the sun sets at dusk, lies the forest of WaZoBia," Tiwa said. "It is there you will find the tree, a sacred place where memories are woven into the land. Listen to the whispers of the leaves and follow the echoes of the past." "And where will it lead to?" King Adebayor asked, eager for more clarity. "To a place whose story is connected to the fate of your kingdom. Only by uncovering that truth can you find safety." The room fell silent, the weight of her words heavy. "How can we solve this puzzle?" one of the chiefs asked. Tiwa smiled softly. "You must embrace the mystery. Here is the riddle you need to unravel. In the heart of the forest lies the tree of sorrow, where once stood a home, now lost to shadows. The roots of justice run deep through the ground. Follow the path where silence is profound. 3 stones guard the way, each a key to a past long buried, awaiting thee. 1 stone bears a mark of the crescent moon. The second sings the song of the evening tune. The last is a token of a mother's grace. Touch them with respect, unveil the place." "Be careful," she warned. "Not everyone who seeks truth has good intentions. The forest has its guardians, shadows of those who once lived in the light." King Adebayor felt the urgency of her words but struggled to understand. "What do the stones mean?" he asked. "Only you can discover their meaning," Tiwa replied. "The stones will reveal their secrets when the time is right." As the assembly pondered her riddle, murmurs filled the room. "What does a mother's grace have to do with our troubles?" Olowogbowo questioned. "And why the crescent moon?" "Such is the way of fate," Tiwa responded. "Sometimes the answers lie within the questions we ask. Seek the stones, and you will find your way." With that, Tiwa turned to leave, her purpose fulfilled, But King Adebaryor called out, "Wait! How do we find you again if we need your wisdom?" "I will always be where the truth is sought," she said, her voice fading like a whisper in the wind. As she departed, the king and his chiefs stood in silence, the weight of her prophecy heavy on their hearts. They knew they must act quickly, for time was running out. The fate of Olowogbowo was at stake, and they were determined to solve the puzzle that Tiwa had given them. Yet, in their hearts, they felt the chill of uncertainty. What would they discover? And would it be enough to save their beloved kingdom from disaster? As dawn broke over Olowogbowo, a sense of urgency filled the air. King Adebaryor knew he had to act swiftly. He summoned the kingdom's wisest men, scholars, elders, and spiritual leaders to gather in the great hall of the palace. It was time to decipher the riddle that could save them. The hall was soon filled with respected figures, each with a unique gift of insight. Among them was the revered elder, Baba Akinimimi, known for his sharp mind and vast knowledge of ancient lore. The king, weakened by the illness, managed to address them, his expression grave. "Esteemed elders," he began, "we face a grave threat to our kingdom. A blind girl named Tiwa has given us a riddle that holds the key to our salvation. We must work together to understand her words and find the truth." Baba Akinimimi stepped forward, his voice steady. "Let us first examine the riddle closely. It speaks of a tree in the heart of the forest, where memories intertwine with the winds of fate. What can this tree represent?" "Trees are often symbols of life and history," said Olowogbowo. "They bear witness to the passage of time. Perhaps this tree marks a significant event in our past." "Yes," another elder chimed in. "And it mentions the tree of sorrow. This suggests it is a place tied to pain or loss. We should consider the events of our history that might relate to sorrow." The group nodded in agreement, their minds racing with thoughts of past events. King Adebaryor interjected. "Tiwa also mentioned 3 stones. We must understand their significance." Baba Akinimimi stroked his beard thoughtfully. The stones could symbolize 3 important truths or decisions. Each stone might represent a piece of the puzzle we need to uncover. "Let's consider the first stone," suggested Olowogbowo. "It bears the mark of the crescent moon. This could relate to our traditions or a specific time of year when the moon is at its fullest." The men murmured among themselves, recalling festivals and rituals associated with the moon. "What about the evening tune?" asked an elder named Ayatiwa. "Could it refer to a song or a story told at twilight?" "Indeed, songs often carry our history. They can remind us of people and events. We should recall any significant songs related to sorrow or loss." "And the last stone," added another elder, "is a token of a mother's grace. This likely connects to a woman who suffered injustice, possibly the woman Tiwa spoke of." The room fell silent as they pondered this thought. King Adebaryor asked, "Who among us knows of a woman who was treated unfairly? Someone who may have been banished or forgotten?" Baba Akinimimi's eyes narrowed as he recalled a story. Many years ago, there was a woman named Adebisi, known for her enchanting beauty. She was banished because of a rumor that her physical form was a sign of witchcraft. Gasps filled the room. "Yes," cried Olowogbowo. "Adebisi was sent away to a distant forest. Perhaps that is where we need to go." "The forest of Olowogbowo," Baba Akinimimi affirmed. "It is said to be deep and full of secrets. The tree of sorrow could very well be located there." King Adebaryor felt a surge of hope. "So we have our direction. We must seek out this tree and the stones mentioned in the riddle. They will lead us to Oyen's story and hopefully to the truth." The elders began to discuss the path to the forest. "We will need provisions and guides," Ayatiwa said. "The journey may be long and treacherous." Baba Akinimimi added, "We should also prepare for any challenges we might face. The forest is known to be enchanted, and we must approach with caution and respect. With their plans laid out, King Adebaryor felt a renewed sense of purpose. Our kingdom depends on us finding the truth. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to come together, but the path to unraveling the mystery was still filled with uncertainty. Would they find the answers they sought? Only time would tell. That evening, the townspeople spoke in hushed tones about the gathering of wise men and their mission. Hope flickered in their hearts, and for the first time in weeks, the people of Olowogbowo felt a glimmer of possibility. As dawn broke over Olowogbowo, a diverse assembly began to gather. First was Olowogbowo, the king's most trusted advisor, determined to lead the expedition. He understood the weight of the mission and was ready to guide the group through the unknown. Next came a healer named Mama Ajala, a wise woman with vast knowledge of herbs and remedies. Despite the king's illness, she had remained steadfast and hopeful. "I will ensure our group is prepared for any injuries or ailments we may encounter," she said, her voice filled with strength. Baba Akinimimi was also present, eager to share his wisdom along the way. "With my knowledge of the land and its stories, I will help us navigate through the mysteries we may face," he assured the gathering. As the sun climbed higher, more brave souls arrived. They included Jide, a skilled hunter known for his sharp aim and keen senses. "I can provide food and protection from any dangers we might encounter in the forest," he said, gripping his bow tightly. Kami, a strong and fearless warrior who had defended the kingdom in the past. "I will protect our group from any threats," she declared, her eyes blazing with determination. Shorla, a clever tracker who had spent years exploring the woods surrounding Olowogbowo. "I can find our way to the Tree of Sorrow. I know every path and hidden trail," he promised. Ayatiwa, a storyteller known for her captivating tales. "I can keep our spirits high with stories as we journey," she said, her enthusiasm infectious. As the group gathered, Olowogbowo noticed the heavy hearts of the townspeople watching them. "We carry the hopes of our people," he said, rallying the group. "Let us honor their trust in us by returning with answers." With the sun at its peak, the group was finally ready to embark on their journey. They set off towards the forest of WaZoBia, their spirits high and their hearts united. The path ahead was uncertain, but they were committed to uncovering the mystery behind the riddle and the fate of Olowogbowo. As they walked, Ayatiwa began to tell a story of courage and hope, weaving tales of past heroes who had faced daunting challenges. The group listened intently, drawing strength from her words. As the brave assembly entered the forest of WaZoBia, the towering trees loomed overhead, their thick branches blocking out much of the sunlight. The air was filled with the sounds of rustling leaves and distant animal calls, creating an atmosphere both enchanting and foreboding. Olowogbowo led the way, guided by Shorla's keen tracking skills. "Stay close," he cautioned, eyes scanning the surroundings. "We don't know what dangers lie ahead." The first day of their journey passed with relative ease. They set up camp by a crystal-clear stream, filling their canteens and cooking a simple meal. Mama Ajala distributed her herbal remedies, boosting their strength for the challenges to come. However, as night fell, the forest transformed. Strange sounds echoed around them, and shadows seemed to dance in the flickering firelight. Kami kept a vigilant watch, her senses sharp, ready to defend her companions. The next morning they pressed on, deeper into the heart of the forest. As they traveled, the path grew more treacherous, and the underbrush thickened. Jide, ever vigilant, spotted signs of wild animals nearby. "We must be careful. The creatures of this forest are not to be underestimated." As they navigated a narrow trail, disaster struck. A sudden rustle in the bushes startled them, and before anyone could react, a wild boar charged from the underbrush. In the chaos, Jide bravely stepped forward, attempting to protect the group. He managed to divert the boar, but not before it gored his leg. "Get back!" Kami shouted, rushing to Jide's side. Mama Ajala quickly moved to assess the injury. "He needs to rest, but we can't carry him all the way," she said, her brow furrowed with concern. "We can't leave him here," Olowogbowo insisted. "We need to find a safe place for him to recover." With heavy hearts, they built a makeshift shelter for Jide, using branches and leaves. They promised to return for him after finding the Tree of Sorrow. With a mixture of resolve and sadness, they pressed on, knowing they had to move quickly. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the terrain grew rougher. The group faced steep hills and tangled vines. Ayatiwa kept spirits high with her stories, but fatigue began to weigh heavily on them. It wasn't long before they encountered another challenge. While crossing a narrow creek, the ground suddenly gave way beneath Kami. She fell into the water, struggling against the swift current. Without hesitation, Shorla jumped in after her, reaching out to pull her to safety. But as he did, the current knocked him off balance. They both emerged soaked and shaken but alive. "Thank you," Kami gasped, gratitude shining in her eyes. "We need to be more cautious." Exhaustion set in as they continued. By the time evening fell, their bodies ached, and they were weary from the challenges they faced. They found a small clearing to rest, but unease settled among them. "Tomorrow we must find the tree," Olowogbowo said, determination etched on his face. "It has to be close." However, as they settled in for the night, the forest came alive with strange sounds. A chilling howl pierced the darkness, sending shivers down their spines. Fear gripped the group, but they knew they had to remain strong. The following day they trekked on, following Shorla's lead. The forest began to change. The trees grew gnarled, and an eerie stillness hung in the air. After hours of searching, they finally spotted a massive tree in the distance, its twisted branches stretching toward the sky. "That must be it," Ayatiwa exclaimed, her voice filled with hope. As they approached, however, they discovered the ground was littered with remnants of a long-forgotten village. Fragments of pottery and the remains of structures peeked through the underbrush, hinting at a tragic past. The weight of history pressed heavily upon them. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath their feet. A sudden shift caused a section of the earth to collapse, sending Shorla tumbling down into a hidden ravine. "No!" Kami screamed, rushing to the edge. "We have to help him." But as they peered down, they realized it was too dangerous. They could hear Shorla's cries for help, but the ravine was deep and treacherous. "We can't risk more lives," Mama Ajala said, tears in her eyes. "We must go on." With heavy hearts, they had no choice but to leave Shorla behind. Olowogbowo breathed, taking a step forward. "Now we must find the 3 stones." As they examined the area, Kami spotted a glimmer beneath the roots. "Look," she called, pointing. "There's something there." They knelt to uncover 3 smooth stones, each engraved with intricate markings. The first bore the symbol of a crescent moon, the second was inscribed with musical notes, and the third depicted a nurturing figure. "This is it. Baba akyanyeme eklaimet." These stones hold the answers we seek. With renewed determination, they gathered the stones, knowing they had taken a crucial step toward unraveling the mystery. But their hearts were heavy for their fallen companions. As they prepared to leave the clearing, a gust of wind rustled the leaves, and the forest seemed to whisper secrets of the past, determined to heal their kingdom and honor those they had lost along the way. After gathering the 3 stones, the brave group from Olowogbowo felt a strange pull. The air around the great tree of sorrow seemed to shimmer, and suddenly, a path opened up before them, leading deeper into the forest. The trees parted, revealing a thick mist that swirled around their feet. "This place feels different," Kami whispered, her eyes wide with curiosity and apprehension. "This must be the land of Olowogbowo," Shorla said, recalling the stories he had heard. "It means, the place of the rejected stone. Legends say it is a hidden village where few outsiders have ever set foot." With their hearts racing, the group stepped onto the new path. As they ventured forward, the mist thickened, and they found themselves in a strange and beautiful land. The air was filled with the sounds of laughter and music, and colorful flowers bloomed all around. However, as they walked, the villagers began to appear, women with large, full breasts and striking features. Even the young girls carried the same endowment. The men were strong and muscular, their laughter echoing through the trees. Jide, momentarily entranced, exclaimed, "Look at them! They are like goddesses." "Focus," Olowogbowo commanded, shaking Jide out of his reverie. "Remember why we're here. Our kingdom is in danger, and we must find answers." But the beauty of Olowogbowo was hard to ignore. As the group moved further, their presence did not go unnoticed. The villagers, feeling threatened by the newcomers, quickly gathered. With fierce expressions, the strong men among them advanced, surrounding the group. "What do we have here?" one burly man growled, eyeing them suspiciously.